Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank, with 32 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. Very busy weekend, of course, highlighted by the Super Bowl, which was a dud, and a significant win for the Seattle Seahawks. And you have to admire the Seahawks. They've done it about as good as you can do it. They put together a team with late-round draft picks, with undrafted free agents, with free agent signings, with trades, and they've put together a team that is tied for the youngest in the history of any Super Bowl champion, Lenny, in terms of the average age per player. So we can expect this team's going to be around for a while.
You would think so. Of course, the one thing we've learned in this free agency era of the NFL is never to automatically expect success the next year. Case in point, this year, perhaps the Atlanta Falcons and the Houston Texans. There are a lot of people's Super Bowl favorites out of each conference going in, and we saw what happened with them. So it's not automatic, but certainly Pete Carroll and the Seattle Brain Trust have this set up to be successful for a long time. You mentioned the blueprint. It's a lot of the same things we've seen the Saints under Mickey Loomis and Sean Payton do. Use those mid to late round picks, an undersized quarterback perhaps, those types of pieces, certainly the undrafted free agents as well, and mold them into a very cohesive unit that is outstanding. And, this is a copycat league. It's going to be interesting to see how many of the things the Seahawks and Pete Carroll do we're going to see in other locations in the NFL come next year.
Well, to me, this is the best defense I've seen in the league since the 1985 Bears. And I know the Ravens were really good when they won it in the 2001 Super Bowl, but certainly, to me, this is the best defense I've seen since the 1985 Chicago Bears. And we'll see where it takes us moving forward. Saints are tied for fifth choice to make it to the Super Bowl next year, and understandably so. With another really good offseason, they can be right there with Seattle and San Francisco. But it's very clear the NFC is the better conference, the deeper conference. We knew this going in, which was why I was kind of puzzled that Denver was the favorite by the odds makers.
It's all about perception. And, at the end of the day, I think, it was proven, where the better conference was in the NFC, and Seattle. Yeah, often, what they say about offense sells tickets and defense wins championships. And, a lot of people were just, blown away by the numbers that the Broncos offense put up. And could the Seattle defense contain them? Well, guess what? The answer was a resounding yes. And, I'd make the comparison. We saw how Seattle played the Saints in that Monday night game. This was a lot like that, if not a little bit better in terms of how they performed. And that would be an interesting debate. Which of those performances was better, how they played against the Saints or how they played in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, very similar game. Peyton Manning's legacy, debated before, will be debated after. It hasn't changed in my mind. He's still one of the top 5 to 7 quarterbacks that's ever played the game, but he's not the best. I do think the legacy matters in that respect. If you would win another one with a second team, to me, that would lift you to top 3 status, if not the top. That didn't happen, but he's still one of the best ever, regardless. Everybody wants to talk about an 11-12 record in the playoffs. That means you got to the playoffs continuously, no matter what the surroundings were, and that's really what he's done. He's still a great quarterback.
No doubt about it. And you're right. He's gotten there year after year after year after year so many times. The reason, he's won a championship, but he's got 12 losses. That means he's been in the playoffs 13 times in, a 17-year career, and one of those he didn't even play. So that gives you an idea of just what a team can do when you allow Peyton Manning to put them on your shoulders.
All right, in terms of the New Orleans Pelicans, they won 4 of 5. They're playing solid basketball, and they're at home against San Antonio tonight. Normally, that would be an uphill climb, but maybe not as much so with some of the injuries that the Spurs have.
Yeah, they've been struggling, and this is a key stretch for the Pelicans with these home games, wrapped up by a Friday night game against Minnesota, national TV. And the Pelicans lost at Minnesota last week without Anthony Davis. Yeah, and we touched on it. Davis getting left off the All-Star team. It's astounding, but it's also it's a very talented Western Conference. It's hard to make a case against any of the 12 guys who made the roster. Now, there are some injuries, and maybe he ends up getting in as a replacement. Obviously, you've got Kobe Bryant, you've got Chris Paul. If those guys come off, who takes their place? It's very possible that by the time we get to a week from Sunday in the New Orleans Arena, or whatever it's going to be called by then, and we've seen some social media hints about what it's going to be there, that he will be on that Western Conference roster.
Indeed. Of course, National Recruiting Signing Day coming up on Wednesday. Extensive coverage here at sportsnola.com. We'll be at 12 different locations with video from each one on signing day itself, plus a major recap of LSU signing day too, Lenny. And there'll be a special edition of PRI, Prep Recruiting Insider, as well that day, so that people can follow along and get a recap of everything that transpired with Renee and Roe.
Exactly, and they'll have interviews, much of the same content you'll see. You can get a condensed version all in one place on PRI Wednesday night at 6 on WHNO TV 20.
And a lot of decisions still to be made. Some will be made on signing day. LSU still in the mix for about 10 guys that matter. Tulane still in the mix for about 4 or 5 that matter. So it's going to be fluid as to what transpires between now and signing day. And a lot of people will be on pins and needles on signing day itself. It's always a lot of fun, and of course we love bringing it to you through sportsnola.com. Lenny, have a great week. Always good to visit.
Yeah, look forward to signing day, and we'll see you later this week.
All right, that is our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 32 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of sportsnola.com. For Lenny, I'm Kenny. Have a great week, and God bless.